Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Soulful Conversation, a space where we explore health, well being, growth, and healing together. I'm Renu, and today I'm joined by a fellow coach and a dear friend, Pri. We're so glad to have you here today. Hi, Pri.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. I'm so excited about our topic today. Are you?
Yes, it's so exciting.
Yeah. So today we're diving into a topic that many of us struggle with, often silently. What I'm talking about is emotional eating. As exciting as it sounds, when I think about emotional eating, I wonder if you can recollect a time where you reached out for that bag of chips, a couple of bars of chocolate, maybe a tub of ice cream, some soda, and again the bag of chips right after you've had a hard day, even though you're not really hungry. Maybe after a meal, I just want to say that you're not alone. So that's why we're here to talk about why we do it, what's underneath it, and how can we begin to approach emotional eating with compassion. So, Pri, why don't you take the stage and walk us and tell us a little bit about what emotional eating is?
Yes. Okay, let's do this. So, emotional eating is when we use food to soothe, distract from, or suppress emotional discomfort rather than to satisfy a physical hunger. It's not about the food itself, it's about the function that food is serving at that moment. Whether it's stress, sadness, boredom, loneliness, or even celebration, food becomes the emotional band aid. Now, let's take a moment to really understand the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger, because that clarity is often the first step in healing. Let's break it down a little more gently. When we eat for physical reasons, we are honoring the body's natural signals. You may feel your stomach growling, feel lightheaded, or even get a little cranky, what we call nowadays hangry. When we eat, the body feels replenished and there's a sense of calm satisfaction. Emotional hunger, though, isn't in the stomach, it's often in the chest, throat, or mind. It can feel like restlessness, a void, or even anxiety. There's a desperate quality to it. You might be sitting there thinking, I need something, maybe a chocolate. But it's not the chocolate your body is really asking for. It might be comfort, connection, or calm. Here's the most important part that I would like the audience to know. Emotional eating is completely normal. It's a deep human response. Food has always been more than fuel. It's a memory, it's love, it's safety, it's culture. We associate certain foods with family, celebration, or even comfort from childhood, like being given a sweet treat when we were sad. So, of course, our brains remember that and try to recreate those moments of comfort. Um, I'd also like you to know you are not broken if you reach for food when you're overwhelmed. You're not weak. You're not undisciplined. You're simply using the tools your nervous system knows to feel okay. It only becomes challenging when emotional eating is our primary or only tool to go. That's when we may begin to feel stuck in a cycle, eating to numb, then feeling guilty or shame, then eating again to escape that guilt. So, but even that cycle doesn't mean you're failing. It means your body and mind are doing what they know how to do to protect you. And the beautiful thing is, once we bring awareness to these patterns, with curiosity, we begin to shift them. What do you think is the why, the root cause of emotional eating?
Ooh, I love that question. It's I could talk. I'm sure like we've spoken like all of last week and the week before about this. There are many, many causes. It's like opening a Pandora's box, but I'm going to talk about a few that are common
Mhm.
today. I love how you said that, emotional eating is like the band-aid. Um, you know, I, it is our way of dealing with negative emotions, uncomfortable feelings, stress, anxiety, sadness, boredom, anger, maybe, not knowing. It's our coping mechanism. This is how we cope through food. And it typically happens when we're not hungry. Um, and what are the foods that we reach out for? Things that taste really good, um, things that we associate through like memory, maybe like, oh, like, you emotionally link the food to certain, to feeling happy. So things that are high in sugar, fat, salty, sour, like sweet and sour, spicy, anything that gives you that, instant boost to your taste buds, making you feel good. And funnily enough, research shows that these types of food release dopamine. So dopamine is a mood boosting neurotransmitter. It makes you feel happy. So that explains why these foods make you feel happy because you're trying to feel better and you're trying to get away from experiencing that discomfort, whatever that may be. Now, why do we emotionally eat? We eat to get away or cope with discomfort, but we also eat to fill a void. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you is that you're trying to fulfill something that's unmet. It could be an emotional need, it could be a need for connection. It could be, it could mean filling up what's missing from your life right now. And funnily enough, we don't give thought to it while when we emotionally eat. Now, I'll bring you other reasons for emotional eating. Have you ever been on those fad diets to kind of like lose weight really quick, only to find yourself that is too restrictive? When you begin like, you're all like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to lose my weight. I'll fit into XYZ. I will look a particular way, only to find that it's causing you stress because you're missing foods that bring you comfort. And when you feel stress, with it comes negative emotions. And when the negative emotions arise, what do? You overindulge. So that's another form of emotional eating. You're coping with the stress related to wanting to look and feel a particular way, in a particular time frame, only to understand that it's something that maybe you don't enjoy doing. I'd also like to touch upon childhood experiences, like Pri said, like we associate food with comfort, right? Culturally, food, I mean, it varies for different people, but culturally, like if you notice that your caregivers, your parents, your grandparents, create these links by using food as a reward, like you're often told, here's a treat because you're good, or because you did something that you're not supposed to do, I'm not gonna give you the ice cream that you were looking forward to. So what happens is that we try and tend to associate food with comfort. And then when we grow up as adults, we use it for emotional regulation. And when I talk about emotional regulation, it often becomes the emotional eating that we're talking about. We look for food to give us that comfort because unconsciously, subconsciously, that's how we've been taught to use food. Like food, when I talk about food, I'm not talking about all types of foods. I'm talking about particular foods like sweet treats or fried foods or spicy foods, like things that you indulge in occasionally, but they were given to you as a reward.
It's almost
So,
like we're conditioned to it.
yes, yes, almost like, except you don't think of it as conditioning when you're growing up. It's something that it's funny that your body just kind of imbibes it within. and you carry it forward to your adulthood. It's weird, right? Like, I mean, um, it's you're unconsciously training your body to think that these foods are will bring you the happiness
Yeah.
when I feel lonely or sad or don't know how to deal with my feelings. Again, like we said, it's normal. We all emotionally eat, given the stress in our lives, given everything that we're trying to do and achieve in the 24 hours, which seem to stretch to 48 hours, in my opinion. I'm sure it's normal. It's normal. I'm not saying that don't reach out for those foods. Do it. We all do it. But another thing that I'd like to bring up here is notice if you're doing it too often, because sometimes if this is a pattern, like, like a pattern, something that you cannot do without, it can be associated with, like binge eating. So binge eating and depression go hand in hand. And when I talk about binge eating, I'm saying that you have no control over what you're eating.
Mm.
And when you finish eating that, you feel um, feelings of guilt and shame. And these are the signs you need to watch out. So if you're feeling shamed or guilt by indulging or overindulging, you feel like throwing up, or you feel like you don't feel good about it, you need medication after that, then it's time to talk to your doctor because it could indicate underlying mental health issues. It could also indicate a binge eating disorder where you need medical help. And now, finally, like I said, I could just keep talking about it on and on. I think for you, you'll find this really interesting. Premenstrual eating,
Yeah.
right? We all do it. All women are familiar with it. That urge, that compulsive urge to eat certain foods just before your period. You crave chocolate, I crave dark chocolate. Like I crave comfort food in terms of um, curries that are rich in with nuts and overindulgent foods. And why do we do that? So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Research indicates that premenstrual compulsive eating has a physiological component to it. What's really going on with us? So, a study which was published in the International Journal of Eating Disorders says that ovarian hormones play an important role during this time. We all know progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen, right? The three hormones. But there is that particular hormone, progesterone levels. Progesterone levels increase before we menstruate. And progesterone is responsible for that compulsive eating and body dissatisfaction. So, what is really going on here is progesterone increases. There's a fluctuation in your hormones. Progesterone is increasing because it realizes that, okay, there's no baby here. Time to, shed the lining of your the ovaries, right? So your period can get going. So when that hope happens, your blood sugar levels fluctuate. When your blood sugar levels fluctuate, we all know that when blood sugar levels fluctuate, your body is looking for a quick fix in terms of food for energy because your body's like, oh my gosh, there's something going on. I need food. When that happens, what do we look for? Quick sources of energy in terms of carbohydrates and sugary foods. So next time you're premenstruating, try and notice those cravings and you know what's to blame. It's the progesterone. So then why does that happen? Because progesterone, you just feel dissatisfied with the way your body looks, dissatisfied about the way you feel. It could be the cramping, PMS, it could be mood swings, irritability, and then the dissatisfaction leads to stress, leads to glucose fluctuation, and hence we reach out for the bag of chips, the bar of chocolate, the ice cream, the donut, the big slice of cake, like my friend does. She loves her chocolate cakes. So we all do it during that time. Again, normal. There's nothing wrong with you. It's the progesterone. So Having said all of this, I hope like I've touched upon the why. Now I'm gonna pass it on. Pri, I think I've spoken too much. I need a drink of water. Pri, can you talk about how do we recognize these patterns?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for such good information, Renu. All right, let's talk about how to recognize emotional eating patterns. I think one of the most empowering steps in our healing journey is developing awareness to recognize when you're emotionally eating. It's not about criticizing yourself or stopping the behavior immediately. It's about gently becoming more conscious of why you're reaching for food in certain moments and what deeper needs might be asking for attention. Here are some gentle cues and questions to help you tune in. First, being noticing the timing and urgency. Emotional hunger often strikes suddenly. It feels urgent and intense, like you must eat something right now. You might have eaten recently, yet you still feel a pull toward food. Physical hunger, on the other hand, builds gradually and feels more like a whisper than a shout. So ask yourself, did this hunger come on suddenly or did it build over time? Second one is tune into your emotional state. Pause and check in with your feelings before you eat. Are you overwhelmed, lonely, anxious, stressed, or even bored? Emotional eating is often an attempt to shift or numb these states. You can ask questions like, what am I feeling right now? Is there an emotion I'm trying not to feel? Um, Another one is observe what you're craving for. Cravings tied to emotional eating tend to be very specific. Sugary desserts, salty snacks, or comfort foods from childhood. They usually aren't about nourishment, they're about soothing. So ask yourself, why this food? What does it remind me of? Check for mindlessness. Emotional eating is often automatic. You may find yourself standing at the fridge or pantry without realizing how you got there. I remember a time that happened to me. You may eat quickly or while distracted, scrolling, watching TV, or even working without truly tasting the food and being present. Ask, am I fully being present while eating? Am I tasting this food or just consuming it? The fifth cue is reflect on how you feel after eating. After eating emotionally, you may feel uncontrollably full, maybe even disappointed or ashamed, not because of the food itself, but because the deeper emotional need still feels unmet. Physical hunger, by contrast, leaves you satisfied and energized. A question like, do I feel content after eating, or do I still feel emotionally unsettled? That could help. The sixth one is recognize repeating patterns. Do you tend to emotionally eat at certain times of the day, like late at night, or in response to specific situations, after an argument, during work stress, or when you're feeling disconnected? These are emotional eating patterns, and spotting them in is a powerful first step toward healing. Questions like, when do I usually eat emotionally, to be curious about what's happening with you. What recurring themes do I notice? I think awareness is the first step toward change. You're not trying to control yourself, you're learning to understand yourself. Understanding the patterns. When you pause with compassion and curiosity, you begin to hear the deeper need beneath the craving. That might be rest, connection, safety, validation, or even just simply the permission to feel your feelings. Recognizing emotional eating patterns is not about eliminating emotional eating altogether, like we've mentioned earlier. It's about building a new relationship with yourself. One way you can ask, what do I really need in this moment? And how can I lovingly give it to myself? How can our clients move forward in this healing journey?
That's a great question. But before, like I say a little bit about that, I loved all your tips to check in with yourself. Like notice patterns. They're all like great starting points.
Hmm.
To elaborate on the awareness, I'd say be trying, the key is being aware. So, how can we do that? Start with just checking in with yourself before eating. Whether it's a regular meal or you're reaching out for that excess snack, or you're like we said that, like you've eaten a meal and then you reach out for something. Really ask yourself, am I hungry? Right? Am I truly hungry? If you are, then go ahead and eat something. And when you're eating that, practice being present. Now, how do you do that? I know like mindfulness, being present, it's all over the place, but I'd like to give you like a few things that you could do. So when you put the morsel of food in your mouth, really pay attention to the taste and texture. What taste are you tasting? Even before you begin biting, keep the piece of food in your mouth. Notice, is the saliva increasing? Is it like, what is the first taste that comes to your mind? Like, what can you actually taste? Are you tasting the sweetness? Is it salty? Maybe a hint of sour? Is it spicy? Or can you like, it's just very neutral tasting. What is the texture? Again, you do this before biting into the food. Do you like the texture? What about that food do you like? Is it soft? Does it feel like a little rough? Does it feel like smooth? So these are the textures that you can pay attention to. Then, as you focus on this, try and notice what you're feeling physically, right? How do you do that? With that piece of food in your mouth, what are the emotions that are coming up for you? Is it making you feel happier? Or do you feel, are you still feeling sad? Are you feeling, maybe a little bit more anxious? Or like, is your mind telling you you shouldn't be eating it? So, what is really coming up for you? How do you do all of this? By minimizing distractions. So, when you're eating, just focus on eating. Eat slowly. You chew your food thoroughly, whatever it is. It could be a bar, like a small piece of chocolate. It could be a piece of bread. It could be whatever is in your mouth. Make sure that you chew it thoroughly. You remember, like a dentist would say, that chew your food at least 10 times before you take it in. That's what we're doing here. So this is how we practice, mindful eating. Now, let's come to the part of emotional eating. Say, suppose you're hungry, you practice mindful eating, you'll notice that after eating that extra piece of chocolate or a slice of bread or whatever it is, you're not hungry anymore. But if you are not hungry anymore and you still want to eat that food, and your body's telling you that, okay, I need that extra scoop of ice cream. What do? We explore the why we want to eat. How do you do that? You tune into your emotions, like Pri said. Ask yourself, what am I trying to feel here? What am I missing? What is that sensation in my body? What's making me feel uncomfortable? Do I feel like crying? Do I feel like screaming? Do I feel like yelling? Am I just plain bored? Do I need connection? So name that emotion, whatever it is. So if you're feeling bored, say I'm bored. Write it down in a journal. I like to have a sheet called a feelings menu where you write down that feeling and say, okay, at 10 a.m., I'm feeling this. I'm feeling bored because I'm missing company, or I'm feeling bored because I don't enjoy what I'm doing. So do that. Have a feelings menu. Then ask yourself, what do I need to feel better? Now, try to think variety. Try to think beyond food. So if you're stressed, ask yourself, how can I de-stress? Can I go out for a walk if the weather is good? Maybe soak in the tub if I have time. Light a candle. Um, or just walk around in the house if you don't, or in your office or wherever you are. Like, just walk around a little bit, like even if it means taking 10 steps. What that does is it releases serotonin that'll boost your mood. And when you feel better, you often find that you don't need the food. Again, if you're still feeling upset, look around, maybe reach out to a colleague, a loved one, pick up the phone, talk to someone. Write it down on a journal, write it down on a piece of paper, write it down in your notes. Use your phone, voice record yourself. Like what's making you upset? It's almost like you're talking to yourself, but analyzing what's really upsetting you. Could be a situation, it could be a past situation, it could be anything. And if that doesn't work, try box breathing. So when I say box breathing, imagine a box. Box has four sides. So if you breathe in for the count of four, hold for the count of four. Exhale either through your mouth or through the nose for the count of four. And then again, you hold for a count of four. So it goes something like this. You breathe in, and in your mind, you're counting one, two, three, four. Then you hold and you count from four, three, two, one. Again, exhale, one, two, three, four. And then hold four, three, two, one. And you repeat it till you feel better. Last, are you thirsty? Have I had my water for the day? Generally, they say you need to drink half your body's weight of water. So if you haven't had water, I'm talking water, I'm not talking caffeine. So get up, go get that drink of water. All in all, what I tell people and our clients is that practice asking yourself these questions. Um, Try it one step at a time. The more you do it, the easier it'll become. And you will discover there are a lot of these non-food tools for regulating your emotions. Again, I'd like to sum up by saying that healing emotional eating isn't about willpower. We are not restricting anything here. It's about understanding what you're feeling emotionally, so building that emotional fluency and feeling safe in your body.
Beautifully
So,
said.
thank
I
you.
love the box breathing example that we've given our clients. So before we part ways today, let's again take a deep breath together. Inhale and exhale. Let this be your reminder. Emotional eating is not a flaw. It's not a lack of willpower. It's not something you need to fix. It's a clue. It's a signal from your inner world, a quiet whisper saying, "There's something I need, something deeper, something tender." When we stop seeing emotional eating as a personal failure and begin to see it as a message, the healing truly begins. It becomes less about controlling the food and more about caring for ourselves in more nurturing, intentional ways. So, today's key takeaway is emotional eating isn't the problem. It's pointing you toward what really needs your attention, what your mind, body, soul need attention. In what way? It's an invitation to listen, to get curious, and to respond with love and not judgment. As we're wrapping up this conversation, any comments, suggestions, advice that you would like to take, give us, we please drop it in the comment below. You can follow us on Instagram. We will put the information in the description and join us in these beautiful conversations. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, take care. Bye.
Right?